start their European affair here at IEM Cologne. Plenty of action will be unfolding as we jump into this best of one. Complexity going to be on that CT side, ViCi starting on the T side.
Looks like they want to start with, I was going to say some pace, but they've slowed it down. Everyone on that B side of the map except for zhokiNg, the star player, already showing us what he can do. One shot right between the eyes of JKS. The A fake works okay, but there are still CTs sticking around on B.
Oh, well, Config trying to catch a couple of heads. They cross on over in behind bench. Hasn't been able to get anything here. So ViCi getting the bomb plant, keeping the man advantage. And this flank from zhokiNg. But look at blimF. He's still ready for it. Headshot in. And that's the kill pulled back. Complexity now in the 4v4 for the retake. They start to move closer and closer, but it's zhokiNg with a quick headshot. Goes in for a second. zhokiNg doing good work in this pistol round. And ViCi, they're cleaning it up. zhokiNg's in with another one. And it's all onto blimF. He's alone in a 1 versus 4. And the USP starts to fall away. Advent in with a headshot. ViCi, what a pistol round.
The individual skill shines through for them. We said they do have some really good players, zhokiNg being one of them who can step up on some of those early kills, in some of those early round scenarios as they move into the B site. That shot from zhokiNg helped sell the fake, but zhokiNg able to turn it round onto 2 players. And now it's going to be Complexity going for the force buy.
By the way, zhokiNg has the fastest arm in the East. Wait until you see some of these entries coming in from him. That's definitely something to keep an eye on. He's going to go for the spray, but this time, swinging by, it is the CZ of JKS that has opened things up.
He stayed aggressive on ramp, so that means poizon can fully focus on Palace. No nades at the ready, so the scout has 2 clear shots. Only one of them lands for the time being, and JKS has now been taken out. So this A site gets opened up, and that nade's going to make it even easier.
Yeah, big kill there. Another great kill from zhokiNg, being able to make the difference. Advantage soaring through. Kaze, the Malaysian wonder kid, looking to try and find something inside of the site. He trots back into the ramp, but Config is waiting for him. The deagle at the ready to come in behind him. Kaze has got out behind cover just in time as Config switches out to the rifle. Quick headshot from Kaze. Now Russian blimF trying to figure out what they're going to be able to pull off here. And it's going to be a quick kill from Kaze. Now just blimF left alone, trying to take something out of the round, but Kaze runs right into him. Really good round out of Kaze, 3-0. And ViCi up to their second round. Complexity's force buy not working out, so they're down to the full eco, and ViCi will be able to invest again. Mac 10 out for Alman, that will be money available coming into this round. And very good start here for ViCi. We did see this earlier on with some of our teams that we considered the underdogs, and it fizzles out quite quickly when it gets to the gun rounds. I think ViCi have got to try and keep up this good start when we go into those gun rounds, and getting as much money on board as possible, as early as possible, is very important for that.
The way they played in that round, wow. Rush just running it up mid with the USP, actually gets a kill. B site will be open though, so I think ViCi should be fine.
Look at that molly.
Weird one. Yeah, that previous round, though, that's the sort of thing that will work when you're against the lower buy, but if poizon had an AWP there, you can't just run in like that with no nades. So it's fine for ViCi to do that in that round. They can't do that in the future, though. Good kill from Alman, sneaking into Kitchen. ViCi just making sure that they are 100% safe there.
Yeah, they're just going to keep that AK up on short on Rush to try and take some exit kills, try and drop as many players as possible. Like I was saying, economy is incredibly important for ViCi if they want to get off to a good start here. And exiting through short is just a non-factor now. They got to get out through the apartments, and look at Rush. He's got this angle. zhokiNg, he's going to go down. It's actually the P250 of JKS that gets that kill. They are going to get away. Advent even hanging around on the extremities, just holding for the last few exit kills. And that is going to be a 3rd round for ViCi, off to a flawless start. But Complexity now begin their buy. And this is where the obstacle really does begin to arise for ViCi. Buy in, AWP out for poizon. Poizon could be really solid in towards short. That mid-punch between Config and poizon can be really difficult to deal with. So I'm interested to see what ViCi have up their sleeve here.
poizon definitely willing to play on that A site also and sit back towards ticket booth. That's another one of his favored positions. Right now he is playing on A early while blimF plays around that window position, leaving his options open on the rotates. Oh, making it up mid early. A quick B presence coming through. Rush has to be careful. He's ready for the headshot and no one there to trade.
Well, Rush with one. He hasn't been traded at all. Like you said, there's just no one hopping out. There's no one trying to get rid of him. Up on top of the van, though, it's zhokiNg, and he's just hung around. Big swing out from Rush, and that cost him his life, but Config on the double has recovered things. And Advent at the back of the pack. He was nowhere near the rest of the team that probably would have liked him to have been jumping out the window with him, but he eventually will get the trade kill with some aggression from Config. And Advent now trying to figure out where they are. The flank from JKS should be enough to confirm the round win, and Advent is going to fall to it. So, first on the board for Complexity. Initially a good enough hold there from Rush in that burst kill, but definitely could have got a little sour there quickly.
Quite a strange jump up from Rush, but it works okay because Config in that time pushes through the smoke. So it looked like maybe he was just trying to draw the attention away from Config. Gave away his life, but it worked out well with his teammate. Those two definitely have a really good understanding of each other. Rush and Config play together a lot. On T side, you'll see Rush running in first and setting up Config for those kills. Not the best looking round from ViCi, though. It's one of those rounds where zhokiNg is that hard entry, just goes in way before the rest of the pack. Got to make sure the timings are slightly better in the future. But for now, we'll see if they can get that sorted out into this follow-up round, because they still have AKs.
Yeah, this it's kind of a last standby. You know, if they lose this one, they are going to be down to some of those weaker weapons. So ViCi really taking the time in this one, figuring out where they want to go. Looks like it's going to be the A hit coming in, though. Starting to set up some nades in towards the side of the map. JKS is playing up on top of the wood. He's got his teammate Poizon back at CT. Has just been neutralized because of that smoke, but he's going to push through it. He's going to play it triple, and that connector play from Alman's about to be spotted. Great kill from him. JKS coming in as well, and now he can just start fighting down on towards Sandwich. Luckily, Advent gets that kill quickly, so the open Poizon on default needs to come away with a double, and Advent luckily gets away with a headshot. He's going to fake tap and jump back in behind cover, but look at Config slithering in behind. They don't know he's there. Finally, they spot him, but it's the kill from Config, and Kaze just caught between two players. Wherever ViCi went, there was just another Complexity player waiting for them.
Poizon doing well with the AWP there on the site, and I think part of that is because it didn't seem like ViCi had many flashes as they came into A. They had a good bit of the other utility in place, but no flashes to blind that AWP on the hold, so Poizon's able to get that initial kill, repositions around the site nicely, and buys that bit of extra time for Config to get put in a prime position to win the round. Now ViCi have to go down to pistols, so Complexity weather the early storm. Always important to get those early gun rounds on the board in these best of ones. And now they should have an even easier time in this one.
Oh, JKS cleaning up. That is so clean on the spray down. Rush as well, finishing off the B apartments lurk. The classic matchmaking strategy. Everybody rush one side of the map, but I'll try and slip out and get a bomb plant, but not quite working here. Money's back out for ViCi though, so they will get their AKs. But this was just made to look so easy. That's not easy to pull off. That's very difficult.
That's also one of the things a lot of players say about LAN is they feel like the sprays are a lot tighter, a lot easier. They think that's something that is quite affected by being online. So hopefully we'll see more of those monster spray downs. Here comes the buy from ViCi though. Early nades deployed into mid. Not using too much utility though. They've still got a lot of sets of nades remaining. We haven't had the AWP on Kaze too often early in this game either.
No.
Generally been the rifle setups for ViCi, which can work.
I do worry that they won't be able to get the AWP out on him enough. I feel like if they get out the AWP on Kaze, that can really make a big difference for ViCi. So we'll see if these rifles can get them around when eventually you'll want to see that AWP come out for them. It's going to be this group up hitting towards the A-bomb site. Close to them is JKS just jiggle peeking for some info. As soon as he gets the info, he'll drop that smoke down. That's going to slow down ViCi. That makes things worrying because they have used the utility. They're just going to run right through it. They don't respect the smoke. Flash is good from Kaze, and that allows the kill on the JKS. Good execute here from ViCi. They're into the bomb site.
Couple of really nice mollies onto the site itself, which make a good difference here. Like you pointed out, a solid execute, using those mollies to make sure no one can push in, and but they're still stuck on the site for the post block.
Yeah, and Config's just picked up his first kill. zhokiNg's out of play. And now 4v4, utility starting to come in. Advent's up at Tetris. He's got his teammate up in the palace position as well. ViCi have a solid post plans into this. It's going to be difficult for Complexity to force this out. They've only got one flash left. They've got to hope for mistakes. They've got to hope they can force some fights. And that's not really happening. And when the fights do come in, it's Advent winning them out. ViCi with a beautiful way execute. And that's going to be the round. They're forcing Complexity to save their weapons. Config's just hanging around, trying to make as expensive as possible. Does do damage on the Advent, and it's going to be enough damage to drop him to the bomb. But in the end, ViCi, really good round from them.
Pretty impressive A-site take. All in all, nades were in the right places. I think this time a big difference is having those flashbangs over the top. You see JKS trying to commit close to the ramp. Part of the reason he'll play there is to try and dodge any flashes that are thrown too far over the top of him, which can come through sometimes. But ViCi throws some flashes that are good enough to blind him on that close angle. That makes a massive difference, getting that early kill, because then the execute is designed to lock the rest of the players out of the site. So getting that early kill on JKS means they don't have to waste any time clearing out the other spots. They can push the site while those smokes are still up, while those mollies are there to make sure Complexity can't push through the smoke themselves. And there's a bit of that tactical play that you're going to see out of ViCi. A really solid execute. Not the same sort of crazy aggression you're used to seeing from Asian teams. It's a really well-played round.
And if you are just someone who watches these big events, you're not going to have seen many other Asian teams other than Tyloo, right? And this is the complete opposite playstyle that Tyloo bring to the servers. So ViCi definitely looking to bring a different brand of Counter-Strike. It's going to be poizon out in the window, smoke up. He takes the smoke off his body, tries to block it a little bit. And look at this. This is Complexity's mid-control strategy on the CT side, right? They're heavy in towards mid, and that is snappy from Config. Quick double kill, though, from zhokiNg, and a third as well. He's a bulldozer. The Chinese bulldozer takes over the B site.
They do still have that bit of aggression in some of their players, though, Dinko. It's still in them. Like you said, just bulldozing the B site in this round. And it really looked like Complexity weren't 100% ready for the push to be quite that quick.
Yeah.
And in the previous round, we saw zhokiNg doing something similar, where he went out way before his teammates, but that time he gets caught. That time he gets punished. This time, I just think Complexity aren't used to teams going in with a player that quick, right? The EU teams probably won't do that too much. But zhokiNg's happy to do it, and it pays off for him. He gets the timing window.
And he just kept going as well, which is the most impressive part about it. You think he's going to get stopped on the third, but he just keeps going. And I said in the pregame, I thought his traditional entry style might not work so well against Complexity, but here he is.
He's so far ahead of his team here.
Yeah, he just gets out and they're not ready for it. Just so quick, just jumps out. There was no one to trade, but he got there before Complexity were even ready. So, I mean, it's not exactly sustainable to get those opportunities every time, but if you get it, you got to capitalize, and he does that.
The scary switch-up could be that double AWP setup, though. Because now if Config's going to be AWPing on B short, maybe, if you try and do that again, you're in trouble, but the wide swing on mid will work out just fine.
poizon went to that position really late in the round, right? You want to try and get the spawn out there, you want to try and get out the window immediately, but he decides to go up into that position pretty late into the start of the round, and he gets caught because of it.
And ViCi like to do this with the man advantage. They love to start grouping up and go for a site take. The problem is, if they lose this B control, the A players will be very well prepared.
Yeah, there's a big timer on the play now to go, right? This flank can certainly start to come in, or rotations can be quickly made, but here comes the execute. ViCi have been good at these so far. JKS peeking down into ramp, gets cleared out by zhokiNg. JKS missing shots, and now Config with a lot more to do. He's got to buy time for the rotation. He hasn't done enough. Complexity are down to 2 players. And ViCi wants to again have the A bomb site.
It's the right play from JKS, honestly. He probably should get at least 1 kill there, but missed shots this time round end up costing him. Despite Russian Blameth gathering all that information, they're not able to do anything with it. Nice play from ViCi. Again, going back into that structured playstyle, once they get that man advantage, they're confident that they can just trade their way onto the site at that point with the 5v4. Even if they lose the trades, they're still in a pretty good position. So a bit of a mistake from poizon early in the round. And then later on, they're unable to lock down the A site itself. Solid start here from ViCi, showing us that this choice to go to Mirage was one that had some weight behind it.
Yeah, I think I and many other people that have sampled a lot of Asian Counter-Strike were, as soon as we seen the map video, probably just felt our hearts sink in terms of expecting ViCi to maybe do something, maybe have a bit of a chance. When Mirage came up, it was just it was a big question mark. But they are performing very well on this T side. Decision making seems very decisive. The entries are confident. There's no hesitation. I think that could be a big difference between teams that are underdogs coming into LAN. You're playing against a team like Complexity. I don't think you can be indecisive. I don't think you can be weak-minded. You've got to be confident in your own ability, and you've got to be decisive that your calls that you're making are the right ones, and they've done that very well. And I'm looking forward to seeing if that continues. But Complexity, in this round, we're not really expecting too much. They've got a FAMAS, got an M4, Deagle, CZ, and a Scout. So this is another round where ViCi could take it away. They're going to go straight in towards A early with 4 players. One quick mid-take coming out from Alman, but the rest are going towards A.
I'll never count out a round where Config has a Deagle. Although he is on the wrong side of the map, but he's pushed in the B apartment, so a rotate will be arriving to this A site to try and give it even more of a stack.
Yeah, well, quick kill from JKS once again uncleared in that position. There'll be one from him, but Jamyeon makes sure the trade comes in quickly. Grip Molotov to force the fight on the poizon. And now Rush trying to peer over the top of the CT smoke. Was blocked, so it is a little bit off right now for ViCi. And they haven't committed to the site because the utility of Complexity is keeping them at bay right now. Alman's gone back over to B to see what's going on over there, and Config's going to get the read on this. He's going to realize, hold on, the play hasn't been committed into A. I've got to go back and check out this B bomb site. And Alman now has 2 players over here he's got to worry about. Blame F has rotated over to Market. And he's about to be spotted. A big kill from Alman, and that completely opens up the B site. Now it's just Rush over here alone on the A bomb site, but the bomb, it's leaving A. It's going back over to the B side of the map, and Config is up in the apartments. He does only have a Deagle, but the bomb is coming this way. And Config could be a nuisance if he's in here. They might not expect this. They might run past him. He could take a multi-kill here. They're just running. They're just running right into the Deagle. This could be an absolute nightmare. Config on the double kill. Switches out to the AWP as well. He couldn't quite get the third. Jamyeon quickly on the headshot. Luckily, Alman still has control of the B bomb site, so they can get that bomb back over.
Rush realizes they're probably going back to B because they have all that ground gain, so he has to be aware of these angles. He has to be aware that Alman could be anywhere in towards this position. He's finally cleared it. He spotted Alman. It's an awkward angle, though. He's looking for more. He gets the first kill, but Alman's still playing that bench position. Rush knows where he is. Damage done, and he actually gets away with it. Complexity with a steal of a round. Config making the play, and Rush closing it.
That's a round ViCi cannot afford to lose, but one that it's all Config's positioning. The heads-up play through the apartments, taking a bit of a risk. And I think Complexity have actually figured that out. They figured out that this B site early has a lot of space you can work with. We're seeing in the last round it was Rush pushing forward with a teammate. This round it was Config who comes back into the apartments and just in such a good position to deal with that running straight into B. They just had no idea.
And then Rush is given that fight against Jamyeon, so he knows where this man is in the 1v1, makes it so much easier to play that position. Had to be aware of that peak in the first place, which was impressive, but that is a heartbreaker of a round for ViCi, because it was looking so good for them. They still have plenty of money, but just losing a couple of rounds like that in a game can make a real difference.
Yeah, especially when you're such an underdog team going up against the likes of Complexity, you really can't afford to throw any of those away. So just sit back and try and reset from that one. It's always a frustrating round to lose, but the trick is now at this point, you've only got to be a 1. You don't have anything else to fall back on. You got to focus and just forget about it. A lot of money, like you said, so it's not such an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, not looking too bad for them. If anything, it's Complexity's money being built up that you have to be a bit more concerned about, because I do think that double up setup for Complexity could be very valuable for them. If zhokiNg's still going to keep flying in ahead of the pack, that could be a nice way of shutting him down early. Looks like we may have some tech issues here. I think some of the ViCi players are sorting their stuff out.
There's 3 Jam Youngs right now, so...
That's a lot of jam.
A lot of young jams. And of course, now V will be playing in the main event. Young Daddy will be returning to the server, Electronic. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that. And here in the play-in so far, Hawker, we've had a pretty good day of Counter-Strike. You know, we've had 3 streams running simultaneously across the day. We had MIBR on the C stream nearly taking the win against Team Spirit. Overtime affair for Team Spirit to pull that off and get the win back. Or I think so far it's been a good day for the favorites. You know, every favorite has kind of won their game, right? There hasn't been upsets coming in yet. So they have been close to them, but it hasn't been an upset yet. Over on the mainstream, we've got FaZe Clan versus EG, and I think that's the most decisive game of the play-ins, to be honest, at least for today. Because those are the 2 teams, I think, that are likely... Well, one of those teams will make it through, and I think the other one probably goes home here in the play-in. So very, very important game between EG and FaZe Clan. That'll be over on the A stream. Just remove the B from the URL above, and you will be over there. And if you're interested in following the C stream action, you can add a C in where the B is. So plenty of action across the day. So much Counter-Strike, and we're back on LAN.
We are. Teams from all over the world combining here to give us a great event. And we're already seeing ViCi come through with a couple of surprises. Maybe Complexity weren't 100% ready for some of these plays that ViCi were making. This is where Complexity have to learn to adapt in the situation, though. If they weren't ready for some of these plays ahead of time, you've got to very quickly figure out what's the best way to counter what ViCi are doing. The tough thing is, ViCi are playing pretty structured, but they have just got the occasional zhokiNg running in round, or the occasional slight different thing that makes you a bit uncomfortable. So even if you're ready for the normal execute, maybe the timing throws you off. Maybe you're used to the EU teams all pushing together as a pack, but zhokiNg catching them out in a couple of rounds now. Let's see if they can shut him down. We are back into the action. poizon has that AWP. We've got a full buy for Complexity. They won that crazy round in the previous. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Utility being dumped up towards the apartments early. It's a deep smoke, and something that Complexity have been doing before the tech pause was taking control of the B apartments early. ViCi have decided, okay, that is a real weakness. We know that has to have happened based on Config's positioning. So what we're going to do is get a player over there and hold for some of that aggression, and that's what Advent's been tasked with doing at the beginning of this one.
Fair few smokes being thrown into B. One also landing at top connector. Rush mollied out early. Smoke goes down, and Config does a bit of damage, but not too much. And now the rush has gone down. Config has to be careful. Emerging through the smoke into the waiting arms of zhokiNg. And I don't know if Complexity can even go for this. Blameth might look for a way in, but it's unlikely.
That was a really good round out of ViCi. In terms of the B split, it was played to perfection. Advent getting a great opening kill, just cracking open rush immediately. And then you have zhokiNg coming through the short play, the smoke dropping back in behind it. He eliminates him. It was just really well played from ViCi. A great round, and they even had the connector cut off as well, so those rotations are always going to be slow, even if they wanted to go for it. They're starting to take these kills easily. poizon getting a double kill. He's got another one on the exit. poizon's got the kills, and now it's just Advent. Suddenly, what we thought was a done deal is down, and it's all thrown away. ViCi, it's a nightmare. It's a disaster, and that is where the discipline, or lack of, strikes ViCi. That was their round.
If Blair's watching at home, there's your Asian CS clip of the day for you, Blair. It always has to happen, even with ViCi. Something weird happens with Asian CS, man. They always have these rounds that just out of nowhere turn into complete chaos.
Dude, that is straight up exactly Blair's nightmare, right? It starts off as this perfect, executed, beautiful Counter-Strike round, and then this happens. What are they doing? Running straight into the AWP with poizon. He just kills everybody and then goes in for the 4K. Yeah, that's not a round ViCi will want to remember. That one's another one added to the pile that ViCi should have won. But I think they're making it quite difficult for themselves now, Hawker, because here go Complexity, another round they should have lost, and they're giving it again. So that's 2 in a row now for Complexity that they likely should have come out on the other end of. And that huge economy game that the T's have built up is now down to $0 in some players. So yeah, frustrating one here for ViCi.
And as you were pointing out, such a well-executed plan going into that round with the smoke landing in the back of Connector and the players at mid for ViCi. It means that any mid player is going to likely rotate through CT to B, especially once they start seeing those smokes land on the B site. They'll likely go in through kitchen. So you're not going to be cut off from mid, more likely. You're going to be able to rotate over fairly in towards that short position. You're likely going to bait out that rotate from Blame F and be able to sneak up through short. As soon as you win that fight on the site, Config's in an impossible position. Then it felt like an impossible round for ViCi to lose, but somehow they fight too aggressively. That may be a scenario where over in Asia, if you just run at them like that, you're going to be able to eventually force a missed shot and just get away with that kill. But here in Europe, it is hard to get away with that. The top AWPers are just going to hit the shot on you so consistently if you don't use the utility against them. And now ViCi just have to sit here and think to themselves, we did a real oopsie last round, didn't we, guys? Uh-oh.
Yeah, big oopsie, but it seemed like Advent was taking it in good spirit. Still seemed positive enough. I mean, there is definitely positives in these rounds from ViCi because they should have won 2 in a row there. But now they are only 1 round away from being tied up with Complexity. And Complexity have got to be sitting here themselves and wondering what the hell's going on, because they've had such a slow start. The rounds they're winning, they shouldn't really have had chances. It's more of the mistakes of ViCi that are allowing them to pull these rounds off. So Complexity certainly are not out of the woods yet, but they're given a lot of chances here, as they're just waiting on getting a few issues sorted out so we can get back in to the action. And there is the man that ended it all for ViCi in the last round, poizon. We said we wanted to see more out of him. It wasn't exactly a great round in terms of what he was able to deliver at the start. Just randomly towards the end, every shot that was presented to him, he just hit perfectly. And that's what poizon can do.
Complexity as a team are one of those squads who seem to win those rounds more than most, just with their individuals, just with crazy plays. They have to take the timeouts offered after round wins because they're so hyped up with the way they win the rounds. But it's back into the action here. Let's see if we've got any more hero plays coming through for Complexity.
Molly's into window early. ViCi really trying to stop this mid aggression from Complexity, really trying to hold these players back in mid. It's not like ViCi are taking mid control, but they're just throwing some utility to force Complexity back, starve them of some early info. Config's going to have to use some utility just to clear out the top mid boxes because he has no idea if there's a play of that. But it is information gathered when no one is forced out, no one uses utility. So Config does get the info that no one is behind those top mid boxes. Once again, B apartments is left open in the default here for ViCi. So some aggression could come in from Rush, and we know he is a player that in those mid-rounds likes to get more aggressive, more proactive into B, especially with this A execute starting to come in. It's going to be a quick safe rotation. Almond's come out from underpass. Quick kill from him. Jamyoung on another one. They're dominating these opening duels, and another headshot, this time from zhokiNg. Complexity they're getting toyed with.
ViCi are playing with the rotations too. It's not just the kills onto the site. It's the way they're throwing the nades in and then not all committing to the site, but almost sitting back and waiting for Complexity to go for those plays too quickly. They've done that a couple of times now where they've been able to draw out the rotations at the right time, either to open up an area of the map for them or just to get a kill outright. And then some impressive shots onto the A site on top of it. Solid execute in. It's been pretty execute heavy for ViCi so far, but I think that's one of their strengths. I think that's something that they should definitely lean on. Utility has all been in the right places so far. Now Complexity's money is in trouble because the rounds they were winning recently were ridiculous rounds they shouldn't have won. So they don't have any money built up because they were having to win these crazy clutches.
And if ViCi have 2 of those rounds, they're up on 9 rounds already. That's incredible. ViCi have looked so good on this T side. And we did wonder what to expect from ViCi because they've had such a long break since we got to see them play in an official tournament setting. That was, I think it was 9 weeks ago. So it's been a long time where ViCi have just had nothing to do but prepare for IEM Cologne. Because they knew they were coming to this event for a very long time. right? They were confirmed for the play-in for months. So they knew they were coming to this event. They knew they had so much time to prepare for matches against these European teams. And Advent is a big brain player. I mean, he's not going to sit back and just go and play the same style. ViCi are aware that the Asian Counter-Strike style doesn't work against the best teams in the world. So they had to do preparation, and it looks like they're completely ready for this.
And Advent's even playing pretty well individually in terms of kills.
Yeah.
He maybe hasn't had too many impact frags that I remember, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to get enough kills to make sure his team win the rounds. That's all he needs to do. He needs to set up his stars. And zhokiNg is looking real sharp today. A lot of quick headshots coming in from him. The rifle has been taken out of the CT's hands, and they have basically nothing else to work with here. So should be incredibly easy at this point.
Yeah, I think blimF really got shocked out how quick the headshot did come in. He was trying to make something work with the only rifle in play, going up in the middle, but zhokiNg has been on fire. I'm glad he's been able to perform, because zhokiNg for a long time, even out in Asia, was really inconsistent. It's great to see him play really well against the likes of Complexity. Under a minute left as ViCi start their attack into the B bomb site. Rotation coming over from JKS, but they don't have weapons here. It's just the P250 of Config. It has managed one, but zhokiNg on the double kill. Both kills coming quickly, and now just Rush left alone. 1 versus 4. USP in hand. It's all about stealing away whatever he can here. Maybe find a gun, maybe a kill here or there. He would have the chance into the short exit as well here in JamYoung, or the top connector player. And it's not going to work out. He doesn't get any of those. So 8 rounds for ViCi. And this T side's been pretty one-sided, honestly. They have looked like a far better team so far on Mirage.
Doing a good job so far, playing their own style, making sure that it comes through for them.
Rush's stats are a little broken there, I think.
Yeah. Although I think blimF's are correct, and he's just not been involved much.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Complexity have not really been involved. They haven't really clicked yet. We've seen some whiff shots here and there from all of the individuals, but here comes ViCi in towards the A site, 3 bombing out of Palace, but look at this setup. JKS hasn't got a thing. JamYoung's headshot's so good, but will they expect the ramp player? Will they expect poizon to be here? The answer's just no. He pops out and gets a double kill. That's the bomb drop. poizon going in for more, but Kaze finally getting something. zhokiNg did not finish off his kill, and that could have been the frag that delivered them something, but it is all crumbling now for ViCi. An unfortunate set of circumstances. A couple of kills could have went a different way. But now Alman left in the 1v3 clutch. Rush, blimF, and Config. The bomb not in Alman's possession. He's got to go back and get that. Luckily, it is at ramp. And the only player actually looking anywhere near the bomb is Rush. And he's just sort of jump spotting over the top of Ticket to make sure that he gets the info if Alman crosses over. And once that happens, he can call to his teammate. But Rush needs to get the timing right. Oh. Now they start to look towards him. Alman's got to deal with more of the Complexity squad. Config at stairs, Rush now at triple, and in behind him is blimF. A trio of players you do not want to face in the clutch here in Alman. Sound of the timing, he looked the wrong way. Config over the top, double kill, and it's all about poizon in the ramp.
ViCi continue to open up these rounds with those rotations, though, getting into good positions to be able to catch those rotating players. I believe it was blimF again who's going between those 2 bomb sites, who almost got caught there at CT, but zhokiNg just missing his opportunity, turning too quickly, thought he already had the kill. Another slightly strange round, but Complexity will be glad to get their 6th round on the board. The chance for a 7th before the end of the half. blimF playing in Connector. I think part of the reason why blimF struggled to get involved is because those sites have been lost so soon, but in this round they tried to challenge mid, and Kaze is ready with the AWP. That's a pretty easy fight against Config.
Yeah, and a big opening again for ViCi. Man advantage in play once again. The only reason they really lost the last round was because that pesky setup in towards ramp, and it is kind of a one-off play. You can't really do that too often and get away with it time and time again. So ViCi are going to group up the mob mentality. Some aggression in towards ramp again here from poizon. Will they be able to clear him out? zhokiNg's just been incredible in some of these entries, though. So poizon's got a difficult task in front of him. Here's the utility starting to come in. zhokiNg, he's got to be ready for this, but this angle's so difficult to deal with. And poizon gets away with one. He continued to spray, but they didn't drop down into him. And because of that, Alman's able to get the quick trade. Now JKS, just sitting at Ninja. Molotov's not spreading to JKS. He can just hold his position. Are they going to check it? They start to spam him away, and he does go down. JKS preemptively firing, but couldn't find the angle onto Advent, so the kill comes through. Bomb planted for ViCi, and a 2v4 for Complexity.
They've got to go for it. It's the last round of the half, but they won't be liking their chances right now. Coming in with the kill. Blamef winning the first fight, but he's traded out by Alman, and Rush was waiting for another peek, but ViCi won't give it to him. Alman is trapped. That could be a kill. Eventually, Rush finds it, but the time is ticking. Shot missed by Kaze now. Rush still looking for more. Gets on the bomb, but eventually gets taken out of the action. 9-6 at the half. ViCi seeing if they can cause the upset, but they've got to keep it through into their CT side.
It's currently ViCi who are in the lead versus Complexity. And I don't think anybody was expecting this coming into today, maybe except Blab, but we're hopping into this second half underway. ViCi's CT side is their weaker side. They honestly look a little scared on the CT side sometimes. Kaze's underutilized. JamYoung sometimes doesn't get involved as much, but if they get a good start here, they might just be able to pull it off. And it's going to be zhokiNg looking in towards middle. Great flash over the top, but no kill for ViCi. It's going to be poizon taking the first and the second, and for poizon, he's just killing everybody. He's found 3 already in towards middle, and Config gets involved as well. It's just Advent left alone. This is more like it for Complexity. That's the start they needed.
No-nonsense start to the second half from Complexity. They are not playing around anymore. After winning a couple of crazy rounds to get them in this position, keeping the scoreline close, they come through with some great kills here. And these flashes on mid were so good for ViCi. You feel bad for them because pretty much everyone is blind except poizon. He had to keep his teammates alive with those kills. He did exactly that. Unfortunate round for ViCi. The flashes were good, just not quite good enough. Let's see what they can do with this buy. Not much, because poizon's already got the opener.
poizon starting to break them. This is not the start to the second half ViCi were looking for. But poizon off to a great start here. Config's up in the ladder room, clears it out, no one's close. ViCi currently with a stack into the B bomb site, 4 players, no one's elsewhere. They're just on B. If Complexity go into the B site, this could work, but that's it really. It will be the save call most likely if they go elsewhere.
You got to get a little funky in these rounds, Dinko, when you got the weaker buy. I know you like to get funky on the dance floor sometimes too.
Yeah, man.
Bust out some moves later, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe during the halftime break.
Maybe when we get back to the desk, man.
They were trying some martial arts moves during the break, so I'm glad I've got a co-caster here and you haven't hurt yourself, Holka.
I'm good. I'm very flexible.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, they found the A site is open. So now that they've done that, it is going to be that easy round. ViCi likely saving what they can.
Yeah, I mean, this is what a lot of teams do is, right? You force buy into the second round, you stack a bomb site, they go that way, you win it, right? Or you have a good chance of doing it. But if they go to the other side of the map, it's worth just saving what you've got, what you've invested in, at least having that to play with in the next round. Because if you don't, then you just have nothing going into the next one. It's all about trying to limit the economy, but in this round, for Complexity, it's a clean start the round, just that one smoke kill through connector from poizon. Just take their time in the default, try and get at some information. Once they gleam enough towards A, they're comfortable enough just walking into the bomb site. And ViCi just hanging on to their weapons over on the B side of the map. So we're up to 9-8 now on the scoreboard. I think Complexity, I don't think you can really hide away from the fact that this should have been a better half from ViCi, because Complexity started really slow. I think it was the best opportunity for ViCi was to walk away with a 11-4 half, 10-5. But I feel like 9-6 is is really generous to Complexity based on their first half performance. And you can see what happens when you give Complexity an extra few rounds. They can really, that's enough to make the difference against a team of Complexity's caliber.
Can very quickly turn back. We're already seeing that. Complexity should look good to win this one too. A lot of focus being put on mid in these early rounds against the weaker weapons, although jjokiNg has been gifted an AK. Now that could make this round a little more spicy.
Yeah, jjokiNg and an AK. That is definitely the duo I want to see. Let's see if he can get anything out of it. BlameF trying to get up through connector. He's done a little bit of damage here and there, but zhokiNg fighting into Ram. Throws his smoke down. And now Alman, he's burning in the window, and Config getting rid of him. Molotov forced him into the wide fight, and BlameF, good headshot. zhokiNg getting taken out of play, and this really is the player that really needs to step up here. jjokiNg at short. BlameF, in the meantime, is making this his playground. And Config has spotted the tower, but jjokiNg's got the kill, and the bomb's down short. Config tries to take the solo fight, and it's not worked out at all. There's a chance here for ViCi. There is still time to recover the round for Complexity. 50 seconds. When that bomb went down. And they're going to try and push from both sides to get this bomb back. But I like the call from ViCi to go into the ladder room, because now they have 2 AKs. But that molly does make things a little difficult. Makes it hot and heavy in that. And Rush is going to try and peek them with a MAC-10. He's come out with a kill. Advent's jumped down into window, and he's going to go down quickly. So it's all under Kaze. Scout in hand versus 2. They've got the bomb, but can they get it away? Can they get it up through connector without losing their life to Kaze? He's going to try and hold for the fight. Trying to use some utility of flash, and that's going to work. That's going to allow the bomb to get away. JKS just about getting around the corner, and the kill from BlameF is there as well. 3K from him. Great recovery mission. Just really unfortunate there for ViCi. They couldn't get that one over the line, but they took it close.
It was still a scary round. Thankfully, they had that molly to make sure they could get that bomb back initially, but it's still in a position where it is awkward to get it onto that A site.
Yeah.
BlameF couldn't really help from window, so thankfully, JKS had that flash to get him through safely, bait that player in, and make sure they win the round. And now we get the guns out, we get the AWPs out, and we want to see if Kaze can have impact. But oftentimes, you said he is a bit too sidelined here on this CT side. So far, though, it's the Rifles who have taken the mid control early. That has been denied, but now Complexity are fighting back for it. And it looks like ViCi are happy to concede that early mid control.
This is a much more lively ViCi than we're used to seeing on the CT side, right? A different setup, some proactiveness at the beginning of the round. It's just really good from Complexity that they decide to take middle, right? They let ViCi throw something at them, and then Complexity take mid in the late round. And that's going to help them a lot, because they could have lost a couple of players in those early fights. But Complexity now throwing some utility down. They did throw some utility at the beginning of the round to try and bait that response out of ViCi. So that was always the idea from Complexity. And now they're leaning over towards B, and this is where that AWP of Kaze is. This is much more dynamic from him. Usually you'll see him over towards Ticket, and Config's gone through the smoke. There's 2 players boosting on top of him, and they've dropped down. That's going to be a sound cue. Now they're starting to run away. Config in behind them, double kill from him, and that is a big worrying factor now. Kaze has to deliver everything. He's got 1, but he needs much more, and luckily for Kaze, he's delivering the goods. He's going back for a third. JKS has dropped down into the site. Kaze hasn't quite seen him, and he won't be able to react in time. BlameF holding, and through the murder hole gets his kill, so now it's just zhokiNg. zhokiNg in a clutch. Fantastic in the first half, but not this time. JKS with a headshot. I thought Kaze had done enough there to really make the round doable, but in the end, he almost needed 3.
That's oftentimes the game plan for Complexity in these rounds too. Get into those late round scenarios where JKS and BlameF can come through. You see BlameF was on the lurk the entire time. Huge play from Config though. Big moment to get those early kills. It looked like Kaze had done enough. You're right, he gets that second kill onto poizon. JKS there was a bit slow out through the apartments, but this time it works out for him as he sets himself up into a pretty good position. So works out fine for Complexity that time.
And all in all, good signs from ViCi's CT side, right? They have Kaze somewhere different. They have him over towards the B-bomb side. They have some early mid protocols in terms of taking the mid control early on the CT side. Lots of positives, because the biggest criticism we have is they're too stale. They play too standard. They limit what Kaze can do in the round, and they've changed that up a lot. So a lot of work has been going into this for ViCi. Different play style presented. Because if you're Complexity and you decide to take a look at the demo, because we know BlameF loves watching his demos, right? You take a look at all these ViCi matches, they're just playing the same CT side every single time. This is very different.
And on Mirage especially, I think you have to be a bit more dynamic on that CT side. I think Heroic exemplify that as one of the top teams on the world on Mirage, and they play so different round to round. There's a lot you can do. Here with the pistols, there is a lot they can do. poizon's been caught off guard. Config fighting, but zhokiNg gets him into a 2v2. This round is on.
Well, suddenly a hero play from zhokiNg and a quick tap there from JKS. Advent should have taken that kill. That should have been his. And now it's all on to zhokiNg. He's got the bomb in middle, but he's got to deal with two Complexity players. He's on the AWP. He's going to jump up into window, repositions over towards jungle, but JKS has decided to leave A, and he's going to regroup with his teammate in top mid. Rush and JKS look to try and play together to get that bomb back. They have a lot of time to do it as well, and they've got utility. A molly, smoke, and a flash on Rush, smoke and a flash on JKS, and zhokiNg is just desperately trying to figure out where his opponents are. He has no idea where they're playing from. He has absolutely no idea where they could be. And so zhokiNg has to be worried about every single angle and finally gets his info. Now they know where he is. He hasn't come out with a kill. And now has to figure out which gamble do you make? Do you go B? Do you go A? And he's going to the wrong side of the map. He's going to the A bomb site, and the bomb's going towards B.
Won't get here in time to see those short players. They're long gone. Onto the site already. And at this point with the AWP, yeah, you have to make that annoying decision to save. It looked so good for ViCi initially. It looked like a real chance at a round win. But a couple of those key decisions late in the round end up going against them. Another nice shot from JKS too in one of these late round scenarios. Important kill coming in from him out on towards A. It's been great seeing Config's level of play here. I think he certainly lived up to the hype, lived up to what we were hoping he would be able to do back on LAN. BlameF, sorry, has had a much quieter time, and okay, JKS dying to the bomb. Bit awkward, but we will move swiftly on. BlameF wasn't able to get involved much on CT, so I'm hoping here on T we can see more from him. Still a very scrappy start to the round, though, with that mid play.
This kill made the difference, really. You know, if Advent gets that kill on JKS, whole different story. Should have got the kill, but 11-9 now for Complexity. Buyout for ViCi again. AWP for Kaze and zhokiNg. They sometimes rock this double up setup, and it can be real nasty. And it's going to be Kaze getting boosted up. He didn't spot anything in behind those smokes, but we'll have to play safe anyway, because Complexity love going for this later mid tick. They don't run out of spawn straight to mid. They throw some utility. They'll run boost BlameF in behind the top mid boxes. And Advent's gone for some B aggression into the tunnel, into the apartment, should I say. He's going to throw that nade on in. It's not going to catch anybody. He's actually going to start falling back away from that position. So he had some early B control, but they've given that up. I like this mid setup between Kaze and zhokiNg. Kaze passive with the AWP. They're going to let Complexity have mid, and they're just going to hold these choke points.
Utility going both ways. Config being denied an early chance in connector, but Kaze given the opportunity. It's such a tight angle, but he's not able to find it. Getting teased by the shoulder of poizon, but here comes zhokiNg, waiting for the smoke to fade, gets traded out quickly.
Good job picking a target there and just taking that one kill, and now Kaze is going to try and get something, but look at this. BlameF often in behind them. The lurks, they're not going to have an idea about this. There's no way, surely, but they're going to read it, and they turn back. They realize there was an opportunity for BlameF to get through the murder hole, and they take him out of play. Great awareness there from ViCi, and now Almond looking for the top connector play, but good luck dealing with Config on land. Quick headshot onto the head of Almond. And zhokiNg now starting to come out of Palace. Rush has no idea that's the bomb down. 15 seconds left. zhokiNg has such a strong position. They're going to try and molly him to keep him back as they get that bomb. But there's two players in CT spawn that can deny everything, and they run on in. Flash goes through, and Advent with a double kill. Lightning fast kills from him, and a 10th round for ViCi.
I think Advent may have just spotted BlameF there from Kitchen. I'm not sure, but it looked like maybe he saw the shoulder, maybe he saw something. Either way, they figured it out, and that was an important moment because BlameF loves those plays in behind. That second shot from Advent was well taken there, showing us what he can do on an individual basis with those final kills. At that point, the round had already been won, really, and now Complexity's money is a bit all over the place. They get a couple of AKs, but Kaze is caught in the middle of mid, and that's an AWP that may be recovered by Cole.
That is a backward jumping config that has set up the distraction to allow BlameF to get the kill. Or should I say, config even got it. An advantage for Complexity, and the AWP will be picked up. Oh, a little bit of an overcommitment there from Kaze. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them, because this is another one of those rounds where ViCi should be winning this one. They've had 2 of those already. zhokiNg getting aggressive in towards ramp, but his teammate made noise. And now Kaze is primed and ready, and he's got a kill on the P250. zhokiNg down, and Advent did not go with him. He's going to throw some util in, but he's being pushed from stairs, and he goes down as well. ViCi crumbling in this one.
Disappointing for them, because there was only 2 AKs for Complexity in this round, but it very quickly crumbled. That first domino falls. Then ViCi feel like they have to get some information. They have to get some map control back. The push into the P250 of JKS unsuccessful. And at that point, it's always going to be a Complexity round. And it means they can save 5 rifles too. So the swing in economy is massive here. Not just for Complexity, but also for ViCi, who may have some issues getting this buy together. They've got to save these 2 weapons to put themselves in that good position. It looks like they will be allowed to do so. So that's at least one positive, but you just wonder whether ViCi's chances here are slipping away from them. Complexity have come into this second half all guns blazing.
They've had 3 of those now where you really should be seeing ViCi convert those round wins if they want to get a win here. And they got to make up for it. They got to go on a bit of a streak. And here comes that double up setup again. It's JamYoung and Kaze working it. Got great utility. Everything's looking good. Now they got to get the round win. Quick mid take with the smoke. JamYoung prevented for going for some mid aggression. And it's a quick play here for Complexity.
BlameF making it all the way up mid. Complexity have put quite a heavy emphasis on this mid control in this game and in general in their Mirage games. They like that control because Config can be so good in the connector. He's already got that early kill. BlameF doing huge damage to JamYoung, who's being encroached in from both sides, and he'll get run down. At least BlameF's been caught, but zhokiNg has to step up and he can't do it.
Yeah, zhokiNg not getting enough done there from Underwood, and Config is having a round. 3 kills, snapping them all up, and Kaze's left alone at the other side of the map. They have changed up his position, but he's once again doing nothing, which is the big issue here. And right now, Complexity, they're feeling good. I think that Config play in the connector is just epitomizing how they're playing right now, how they feel. This second half has been a completely different story. Everybody's getting a little bit more warmed up. It's a slow start for Complexity, but once you see Config started to get going, I think every team on Mirage should get scared. It's one of the best players in the world at this map. Kaze under a lot of pressure, looking to just try and save his weapon. That Molotov might just confirm that he stays alive. And smoke up off to his left side as well, needs to be careful. And just about gets the AWP to the next one. But 13-10, and this opening was just a little unfortunate there for Alman. And then Config just didn't stop.
That turnaround after the jump, so nice from Config. And I like that Complexity are willing to play so loose on Mirage, because I think Config will win you rounds if he's allowed to just get into those positions on the front lines, oftentimes in connector, oftentimes towards mid. He'll go for those early fights, and if ViCi give them to him, he's got a really good chance of putting his team in a good position. Here comes the aggro, but BlameF ready. Poizon alongside him. Config snuck into connector, which they might not be ready for, but it's already a 4v2.
Kaze gets the quick shot off. He needed to find that. And now there's still a chance for ViCi, but like you said, that really solid start for Complexity has given them such a huge advantage into round 24. Need a lot more where that came from, and it is the 2 big hitters, Kaze and JamYoung, looking to try and figure out how they're going to pull this back. Complexity going to be setting the bomb over towards the A site. JKS has got very far into the A bomb site. He's playing at Sandwich. He was just holding his position there. Now Molly's out jungle. Kaze's rotated over towards CT spawn. You'll hear that bomb plant being confirmed, and can't really do too much about it, but he could get this kill on poizon. This is going to be the decisive fight of the round. poizon versus Kaze on the AWP. It's not looking like it's going to happen. Kaze is actually dropping off, and they're considering the money. Advent's call for the save here. It has to be the save call coming in for ViCi. They want their money for the next round. I think if they got that kill onto poizon there, I think there was still a chance of the retake, but it would have been difficult. So ViCi have decided it's better to be safe than sorry, and it's going to be 14-10. I think we're getting into that dangerous point now.
It's hard for ViCi to know how to adapt to this too, because they've tried to fight mid on some occasions. They're losing those fights. Then when they're giving up mid, you can't just allow Config to walk into connector and take fights onto A. Maybe you sit even further back and play retake on A, but that feels kind of weak too. You don't really want to be doing that if you can help it. It's hard to find an answer here on the ViCi side because these rounds are just spiraling so quickly with those early kills. I
think they wanted to take that mid control away from them in the previous round. It just didn't work. You know, I feel like the timings on the amount of peaks they had, because they had two players go through the smoke, but because they went through the smoke at such poor timings, the spacing wasn't good enough. So it ended up just being 1-for-1 trades and 1v1 fights, and then Advent finally gets one, but then poizon can trade it out at short quickly. So, I mean, I like the idea, I understand it, but the way it was executed just wasn't perfect, and you gotta be perfect if you're trying to take mid off complexity like that. And I think at this point, you know, ViCi come in with a game plan and hard prep for complexity, and I think you gotta make that work to the point where it gets you enough rounds in the CT side to float by. I don't think when your game plan runs dry and now you're just straight up dueling against complexity, I think that's where things get rough.
Off the back of the timeout, ViCi seeing what they can do with a couple of saved guns, but complexity upping the pace again, and Alman might not be ready.
Well, Config straight out of the apartments, and, well, Alman only has a pistol here. He's going to throw a smoke down and try and use it on the side, but poizon, even while blinded, gets a kill in the AWP. But zhokiNg, that was his prime chance, but Config and BlimF quickly coming in with kills of their own. Now Jamyoung and Kaze have got to really figure out what can they even do. It's got to be the save call again, and it's frustrating, but it's how it is when you're complexity. You hit that stride on the T side, you don't stop. You just keep going until you're put to a stop. That's the juggernaut.
And that's especially frustrating for ViCi because I guarantee you, they called that timeout and they started talking about, all right, guys, what do we do on mid? How do we stop this mid play? What do we do against this mid control they're getting? And then you come into the round, maybe with a new idea, how you're going to stop that mid play, and complexity just rush B. And all that talking, that whole timeout feels pointless because they just rush B against you. Hopefully ViCi can use it in this next one, but it is 15 for complexity, one away from the win.
I guess the positive is for ViCi, they decided to save most of their money for this last round anyway, right? They wanted to play for overtime instead of investing everything into the previous for the regulation win. So if ViCi ought to do this, they've got to do it in overtime against complexity. I think that becomes a different beast all on its own. So see how many they can get now. All their timeouts are gone over for ViCi. Investment in another timeout for them. You're so right in terms of the fact that how do you counter what complexity are doing? Because you don't really know what they're going to pull off, right? You can go for this quick mid control. If you commit all your resources into mid, you've just had the previous round prove to you that they can just change it up. So it's not like they're taking mid every single round. So ViCi have got to take a gamble, take a risk, and you always feel kind of rough having to take a gamble and a risk in this kind of round, where if it doesn't pay off, you're done. Your best of one's over.
Last timeout taken by ViCi ahead of what could be the last round of this map and of this opening game for them. Whatever happens, they've showed signs of promise, but complexity have come back into this one strong in this second half. CT side has not been kind to ViCi so far. Let's see if they can change that. Complexity have been playing so well, and they're straight back to the B bomb site.
Yeah, B play again. Config this time didn't get out the window. They didn't jump out. He got stuck on the side and didn't commit to it, and now they've just called it off. And that's the correct play there for complexity. But look at the bomb. It's still hanging around. poizon's realized, hold on, I have the bomb, so I'm going to leave the apartments and bring that back. I'll give that to someone else.
And here's the upside of that play. Look at how much utility Complexity still have. That was mainly a contact play, just chucking some flashes in. So you are short on flashes, but you still have plenty of nades to go for a plan B in this round.
Yeah, and I like how they just call it off immediately, right? There's no fumble, there's no commitment. It's just composure, and the correct call has been made to go back over towards A. But you see 3 players over here for ViCi. One of them, only one, is playing in front of the smokes, though. And that will be Advent. Not exactly known for his fragging prowess, but he's been hanging with Complexity at a decent level. So he's definitely got to be able to pull something off here, especially with his teammate in it towards CT. There should be a smoke execute, but poizon's going to just take the dry fight against the Opera. It hasn't worked out for them, and now Advent burning inside of the default Molotov. He runs back in towards Ninja. Rush should have heard all of this start to come through. He was up in Palace the entire time, unaffected by the flashes, unaffected by the utility, and that information is now given over to JKS, and he's going to get the kill. It's opened things up as Complexity look to try and finish on the site. The kills are starting to come in. The A bomb site is crumbling, and so are ViCi. JamYoung trying to peek out from CT. He's managed one, but he'll need a quick reply. And now the 1v4 is needed from JamYoung. It's been a valiant attempt here from ViCi. A great start to the game, but in the end, it's Complexity. Just too hot to handle, too strong in their opening best of 1. They'll take a win 16-10 over the Chinese team of ViCi. We'll be right back after the break to break down this matchup.